All right, welcome to the GCAN webinar series, everyone. Good morning. We are pleased to have you join us for today's webinar, which is presented by the Gulf of Mexico Coastal Acidification Network, GCAN, the Gulf of Mexico Coastal Ocean Observing System, GCOOS, the NOAA Ocean Acidification Program, NOAA OAP, the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange. And the goal of the GCAN webinar series is to provide relevant information and resources about ocean and coastal acidification that's occurring in the Gulf of Mexico to stakeholders in the region and from around the country. Our vision is a Gulf of Mexico that is resilient and prepared to address and adapt to ocean and coastal acidification. My name is Michael Aquafreda, and I'm the Knaus Fellow working at NOAA OAP, and I'll be moderating today's session with Jennifer Vreeland, the coordinator for GCAN. Thank you all for being here today. We are glad to have all of these registrants from all over the United States. During the presentation, all participants will be in listen-only mode. You are welcome to type any questions into the question box in the bottom of the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll be monitoring incoming questions and we'll pose them to our speaker at the end of the presentation. Also, you are always welcome to add your input on what you would like to hear from future GCAN webinars, as well as topics or resources you would like GCAN webinars to cover. If you have any ideas, please type them into the questions box and we will take them into consideration as we plan for future presentations. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available through the GCAN website. The title of today's presentation is A Tour of the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange, or OAIE. I'm very pleased to introduce today's speaker, Juliana Mullen, the OAIE Community Manager. Juliana is the Community Manager for the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange, a collaborative online platform for professionals working or interested in ocean and coastal acidification. Through her role as manager, Juliana works to increase engagement among members, maintain an online environment where users feel empowered to share and improve the site interface. The OA Information Exchange is a program of NERACOOS, the Regional Ocean Observing Network for New England, and Juliana also oversees NERACOOS's communication program, focusing on raising awareness for the organization's activities and successes. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Juliana, and you could begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Mike. Can everyone hear me?
Yep. Great.
So thank you so much for inviting me to do this and for attending this overview and tour of the OA Information Exchange. And thank you, Mike, for that introduction. You've saved me a bunch of time. If you're here, you probably know that we're a community for professionals who are working with or interested in ocean and coastal acidification. And here's just a brief outline of how I'm going to structure the tour. I'll show you how to request an account, and then once I do that, we can take a look at the members only side of the site and the main areas that members can access. I'll show you how to add content, the kinds of content you can add, and a quick overview of our people network. And then we'll review how our search function works, and at the end, we'll wrap up with any questions that you might have, and I can go over anything again that I may have glossed over in the beginning. So like Mike said, as community manager, my job is to make sure everything is working, both in terms of the site being functional, people being able to access it, the user interface. But more importantly, I work to make the space a place where we all can come together and engage with one another, because at the end of the day, we're an information exchange. We're a place for dialogue, and all of the site's tools relate back to how we facilitate that dialogue. So let's get started. This is the public page. So when you are not a member, you type in oainformationexchange.org. This is where you end up. And it's a members only site. So in order to get access to the site, you are going to go to this button right here that says request access. You're going to fill out your information. If you say, how do you hear about us? You say GCAN webinar series, I'll know, but the information that you provide here is what populates your initial profile. And then you send that request. that request goes to me, the administrator of the account, and then I can approve it. And you can get access to the members only area. So when your account request is approved, this is where you end up. You get an email with your login information. Your username will be the email address you provided in that form. And I can talk a little bit more about profiles later. So before I dive into this main part, I just really quickly want to touch on our participation guidelines. So the content is, the body of our community, and these guidelines, I think of them as kind of the heart and soul. They outline expected behavior. It's a, code of conduct, outlines moderation procedures, and it also outlines our shared values. I think this is really important to mention, because even though we're all professionals and this isn't a place where we're sharing our feelings or anything particularly incendiary, hopefully, we're still human, which means that we work hard to promote a culture of respect and empathy and inclusion. And creating that culture is really important, especially to me as a community manager. That's a big reason why I'm here. So we want to acknowledge that even if this community is a professional space where we're just talking about ocean and coastal acidification, asking for help or speaking up can be really intimidating. I definitely understand that and respect it. So I'm committed, project partners are committed, our steering committee team leads, we're committed to making things as unscary as possible. So I definitely say that you should read as much of this document as you can as a member. At the very least, just read this overview at the top. And so, that's our heart and soul. So this is the member homepage. This is where you land. This is the gateway to all the content. And when you first join, you probably see this giant yellow sticky note. This is what pops up when you're a new member. If you want to get rid of it, you just X out there. So the home page is a feed of all the information that's been shared to the site in order from newest to oldest. You can see right there, most recent. If you want all the content unfiltered, you can live on this homepage feed. And then from here, you can drill down into the more specific types of content that you can access. And I'll go through these. Oh wait, did I actually show you guys the outline? I don't think I did. So how to create an account, main site architecture, member homepage, we're already there. I'll show you teams, which is another way the site is bifurcated. Then site content, people, search function, and questions. Okay, sorry about that. I can't even, what is time? What is concentration? I don't know what it is these days. I don't have it, that's for sure. All right, so most members end up spending their time in 4 main areas. Updates page, the people pages, team page, documents, and events. I'm going to talk a little bit about teams first. The site has communal spaces for everyone. So that was the home page where we just were, for example. And the site also has teams, which are separate areas that are more focused on specific regions or topics within ocean and coastal acidification. So teams page, this displays all the teams that you can join and a little blurb about what they are. Organized by topics first and then regions. Like I said, 24 teams total. This account that we're currently looking at is my kind of stock new member account. So we're only a member of 1 team right now. This is the newcomers club, and everyone's automatically added to this team when they join the site. And you can join any team that you're interested in. You don't have to stay in your professional lane or discipline. If you want to learn more about sensors, you can join the equipment and troubleshooting team, for example. So even when you're not a member of a team, you can still see the content. If you want to add content to the team, then you have to join it. So in order to join the team, what you do is you just click this button, and you'll see this little box that says your request to join this team is pending approval. And then I will review the request, and 99.9 times out of 100, your request will be approved, and then you can post content to the team. So the one exception to the everyone team rule where you can see everything in that content is for private teams. So for example, the GCAN team, which is right here, is a private team. In order to see private teams content or posts, in order to add content, you have to request to join that team, and unless you're pre-approved, so for example, unless the coordinator of GCAN knows who you are and says that you should be a member of this team, then you wouldn't be able to join that private team. So there are 5 private teams right now, and GCAN is one of them. But in general, of these 20 teams that you can join, they're a great way to learn more about something you're interested in, to ask questions of a specialized segment of the member audience, to learn more. And then I just want to point this out. So in this team, you can also see a list of everyone who's part of that team, and can go more in depth about that later. So that's the main member homepage, which is kind of the big bucket, and then teams, which is the more divided, specialized buckets. So then I'm going to talk a little bit about updates. So we're getting into content now, and updates are the base on which everything else is built. So this is the updates page specifically. Updates are where you ask questions, share news, events, you can share media, and then other members can respond in a comment section. So if you've ever used any kind of social media with a post and comment system, this is basically the same. So let's add an update. And updates they're great because they are these little packets of knowledge, and they're searchable and easily accessible because you can organize them with keywords. So let's say I have a question about OA outreach. Always need a title, obviously, and you need topic tags. These are really neat. So for topics, you can choose something that's already been used. For example, you could type outreach, and you'll see if something's been used already, it'll automatically populate. So we add the outreach and education topic tag. You can add something like Gulf of Mexico, or you can create a new topic tag that has to do specifically with your post. So there's no avocado topic tag. So if I want to tag it with avocado, I just add it in there. So you want to add your description, obviously, you want to actually say something. And then when you're done, you can just click save, and that will post your update to the feed. So topic tags are super important, and they're going to come up a bunch of times, so keep those in mind. All right. So one thing I want to talk about is the difference between the home page and the updates page. Like I said, there's different kinds of content. On the home page, you can see all the content, and the kind of content that it is denoted by these little black icons that are underneath the titles. So this is a document, this is an update, this is an event, and they don't really show links, but that's how you can differentiate between those. Oops, I meant to do something else. Okay, sorry, I'm out of order. What's cool about updates is that you can attach all kinds of different media. You can attach open access PDFs, photos, you can actually put GIFs on there, which is pretty fun, presentation spreadsheets. Anything that you can attach to an email, you can basically upload to the site and include in an update. And I'll talk a little bit more about documents later. So let's take a look at an update. This is a little update I created where people who have just joined the site can introduce themselves. So this is my original post up here, and you can format differently if you want to. And then these are the comments that people have added, have responded to the post. And this is a particularly long thread because a lot of people have introduced themselves, which is great. One thing you'll see is that some people's names are highlighted in blue, and this denotes that they have been tagged in a post. So if you're writing, I'll show you this, 1 million bazillion comments. Let's say I want Dwight to see my post. I start typing Dwight's name, and there he is, he pops right up. Now, when I type my comment and post it, he's going to get an alert that he's been mentioned. So it's a really handy system. All right. And if you have questions about tagging, I can talk more about that later. I realized that that's a really quick overview of that feature. So let's go to the next area where content lives, documents. So as I said, whenever you include an attachment, the many different kinds of attachments you can include, it also lives here in the documents page. So this area is only, it says documents, but it could be any kind of media. So it could also be a photo, it could be an spreadsheet. We're not limited to just PDF documents. You can see articles, presentations, blah, blah, blah. And super important that you keep up your topic tags with these because it's the best way to stay organized and make sure that you can always find the information that you're looking for. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the links page because it's kind of silly. If you include a link to any kind of outside content, it ends up in the link page. I think it's actually much easier and more useful to just use topic tags to search. Typically in posts, the links are, you know, overshadowed, or it's more useful just to pay attention to the content and topic tags. Much more useful is the events page, and this is kind of the final big area. Events page, I love. It's a great way to discover webinars just like this one, or conferences, talks that you might not otherwise know about. And if you are hosting something, it's a really great way to, you know, reach the 1,000+ members of the OAIE community who see these things. Right now, the events page is really light because a lot of things have been canceled because of COVID, but usually this page is really well populated with both things that are in person, conferences, talks, and also webinars and meetings. So I really love this because if you click on I will attend an event, it sends you an alert once that event is upcoming. And so here's the description for the event. It lists all the information, and you also have the option to add it to your calendar. In addition to receiving an email from the OAIE, you know, you'll also have the standard calendar invite with all the information. So when you are scheduling an event, you'll see that the top of this looks just like a regular update like we were looking at before. Same thing with topic tags. I want to mention this. It looks a little funny right now just because this is a new member profile and they're only a member of one team. Whenever you're posting an update, you have the option to post it to everyone. That means it ends up on the home page and the updates page. You can post it to everyone and the teams of which you're a member, or you can choose to only post it to specific teams. And with that, most people choose to post it to everyone and their teams. But that's a great way to use teams as well. It's like a little library catalog, and it's a great way to find specific information. So, you know, same thing, event location. If it's a webinar, say webinar, wherever it is. And then a really cool feature that we have on the OAIE for all members is you can create a webinar for the event that will host a GoToWebinar directly through the OA Information Exchange. So you don't have to have an account. you can just use the platform that's built into this site. It's been especially useful recently because NOAA employees haven't been able to use Zoom, so we've had a bunch of people take advantage of this feature. It's been really useful. So if you do that, the information will auto-populate in this, and you can go from there. Obviously, you want to include your date and time, the description, just like that. Choose all your options. You know, if you want to send an email, and then you click save, and that will be posted to the event calendar. So pretty cool. I think the events page is one of my favorites. All right, last major area we're going to talk about is the people page. And the people page is a Rolodex of the community's members, and it's basically a really cool networking tool. So it's ordered default by whoever has logged in most recently. You can change how you sort it. You can filter it by teams. For example, let's see, here I am. And if you click on someone's profile, you can learn more about them. You can see what teams they're on, and you can also see their contact information. So if you're interested in getting in touch with someone said something really interesting, you can reach out to them. And of course, as a member, you get to choose how much or how little you want to fill out, but I hope you choose that, you know, to share information with others, because it is a collaborative platform, and it's really neat when people are able to make connections. All right. So the last thing I'm going to show you in this round, and again, I can revisit any of these things in the question session. I realize this is a lot fairly quickly. At the top of this page, there's this really handy search bar, and it's great because it's predictive, and you can search for basically anything. So let's say you want to find a member of the site. You can type in someone's name, and oh look, there pops up Michael. Try that. You can type in a topic. So let's say Gulf of Mexico, and it shows you all of the posts that have been tagged with Gulf of Mexico. You can search for just general keywords. So let's see, I'm trying to think. Shell Day event. If it's been mentioned in the title of something, it'll also show up in search results. It's really useful, and this is one reason why topic tags are so helpful and important, because it really helps organize the information and make it super easy for everyone to find. Okay, hopefully I haven't talked too fast and you all got some of that. So I'm going to stop there for now. Again, I would love to answer any questions. Oh, actually, one more thing. So if you become a member and you have some other questions, want to read through the participation guidelines, there is an FAQ area. There are some YouTube videos there, really short ones that just show you, that walk you through these different things, how to add content. You can find a description of all the different teams right here. You know, it shows you exactly what they are, how to utilize the team, more information about the history of the site, all that good stuff. So if you don't feel like shooting me an email after this, and I definitely encourage you to do so if you have other questions, then there's some pretty good stuff on this. All right, so I'm going to stop there for now and take your questions. And hopefully I made it through that without losing everyone. I apologize if that was incredibly quickly.
Juliana, thank you so much for that great presentation. It doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat box from any of our registrants, but I do actually have a question for you. Do you think you could talk a little bit about where members of the OAIE come from? Is it just in the United States? Is it international? And how many members are there?
This is so cool. I love this. So when the site was started in February 2018, we had no plans to do international outreach. You know, this was supposed to be like a domestic project. We really wanted to bring people together across the country, but people from outside the United States immediately started finding the site, and there's been this amazing group of people who have really expanded the network across the world. We have, I think as of earlier this month, we have 1,056 members, and about 20% come from outside North America. So we have at least 42 different countries represented. We have a couple people, scientists in Iran, actually. We have people from Micronesia, Pacific Islands, lots of people from Europe. It's really been amazing how this has become not just a community, but it's become a global community. So it's really neat to see, and we're always looking for ways to be more inclusive and make the site a place that's welcoming for everyone. So I really enjoyed seeing how the community has grown that way.
Thank you for answering that question. We have one question that just came in. Is there a publication depository available?
A publication repository?
Yes.
So this is the documents page, and this is probably the closest thing that we get to right now of a kind of a database for different kinds of white papers, peer-reviewed papers. We're also working on a way of linking databases like Mendeley or Zotero databases directly onto the site. So we're hopeful that in the near future, that'll be another way that we can kind of keep track of things that have been shared to the site and make them more easily and centrally accessible to people. So, but right now, this is the kind of the way that you can find resources. And again, using topic tags.
Thank you. Another question that came in is, are you able to connect in a live chat forum on the information exchange?
No, that is actually something that we have debated doing, and in a couple months, I'm going to be launching a survey for members, and I'm going to be asking people what features they most like to see, as we're moving forward. And I think a chat function is a really interesting option. It does involve some significant work on the back end of the platform, so we want to make sure it's something that people would take advantage of, but that's definitely on our radar. As of right now, no, there is no individual chat function. Exchanges between members goes through comments, tagging, and updates. And of course, if you visit someone's profile, you can find their contact information.
Another function I was thinking of when you were making some comparisons to other social media sites was a polling option where you kind of could create a little poll and anyone on the exchange could answer it. So maybe when you send out that poll, that could be another poll question.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. And one thing I love is when members reach out to me and say, hey, is this something that we could do? Just collecting general feedback on the site. And it's great when I come up with these ideas for things we could do, but it's 100 times more valuable when members reach out to me and say, this feature is kind of missing and it would be so useful to me if it was there. So if you think of something, put it in an update or email me directly. Definitely want to hear about people's interest in things like a chat function and a polling function.
Absolutely. All right, so another question has come in. Since this is a membership-only site, why are some teams private?
This is something that we struggled with implementing. This was when we first started the site. There was some debate as to whether, because it was members only, should all teams be accessible? And there were some people who really wanted to take advantage of the OAIE, but they're sharing very sensitive information, things that people had to log on to, specific private servers in order to speak about these topics. And we decided that if we were able to provide people with a safe space to discuss these sensitive issues, even if it did, maybe on the surface seem that it was excluding other people, that was a worthwhile thing to do. And sometimes people, just feel like they can speak more openly if they know that the information they're sharing can only be seen by a select group of people. So, it is a tricky thing. I definitely see the push and pull between members only site and then also having private content, but I'm glad that we can provide these spaces for people where, they might otherwise not have them. Oh, one thing I should mention is that anyone can request to create a team. It's really easy. So if you want to, I'll use my avocado example. If you want to create a team about ocean acidification avocados, you can email me and we'll get the team started. It's that simple. So if there's something that you want to talk about that you don't think there's a niche for, start a team. Absolutely something that we've done. When we started out, we had 14 teams and now we have 25, and that's because people have approached us wanting to, create new spaces, just like we did with GCAN.
All right, so some more questions have come in. One of them is there a way I can add to an existing update and have it post to multiple teams instead of using the send an email to teams function?
So I think, I'm just going to sign out of this account and sign into my admin account really quickly, because I think it shows I'll be able to answer your question a little bit better with this. So I think the question is, can you choose to update to everyone or only send it to specific teams without the email function? Okay, so let me back up. Because I'm the site administrator, I'm a member of all the teams. That's why this list is huge, whereas in the new member profile, you could only see the newcomers club. So if I write a post and I only want to share it to equipment and troubleshooting and Alaska, then I just check those boxes. Then, I write my post as usual, I save it, and you can choose to send an email to teams about this post. You don't have to. However, then that post will live in those teams. Let's just pretend that I wrote a post. Now, there is the option to subscribe to team posts. People who are members of that team don't necessarily have this feature turned on. It's something that you opt into because we don't, people get annoyed when they're spammed. We don't want anyone to get annoyed because they're having too many notifications. So if you want to subscribe or encourage people on your team to subscribe whenever anyone posts to the team, then this is what you should do. You click the subscribe button, and you can actually tailor when and how often you receive digest, whether you only receive them when you're mentioned, etc. So we defaulted to that system rather than being alerted every time, just because everyone gets a lot of emails, and we want to communicate the right amount. Hopefully that answers your question. But again, you can also choose to send an email about the teams if it's something really important and you want to make sure that everyone sees it despite their subscription settings. Then you can also choose to send it to whichever teams and say, this is super important. And then they'll get that email in their inbox no matter what. Let me know if that answered that question.
Okay, thank you, Juliana. I think that does answer that question. So the next question is, can we share events in addition to creating them?
Okay, so I think you can share any event that's happening and you don't have to, make it something that's happening on the OAI. So let's just say that you have a conference that you want to alert people about, and let's say it'll be Saturday the 6th, 12 a.m. You can just do this and save it. My mom's internet is super slow. There we go. And then here's this event that just shows up on the general page. So there's no way that you can port in an event directly. If you have an existing event, then you do have to come in here and kind of retype the information about it, but it doesn't have to be something specifically that's hosted on the OA Information Exchange.
And unlike updates or documents, when you make an event, it's not to a specific team. Anyone on any team could see events. Is that correct?
You can, just like with an update, you can choose who will see this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. You can post it to, you don't have to post it to everyone. You can just put it in a specific team. If it's a private event, like say you want to have, you're hosting a webinar just for members of GCAN, you can post it into that private team, and then only members of GCAN can join that event. It's the same thing.
Excellent.
Oh, and it'll tell you that, posting a private, but you can also share it to everyone.
Great. So we have a couple more questions. One of them is, in terms of best practices, methods, and standards, are you linked or planning to link to the Ocean's Best Practices System, OBPS, which is being promoted by the ocean observing community as a repository for relevant methods?
Oh, wow. I don't think I have enough information to answer that question. That hasn't been on my radar, but I'm definitely interested in learning more about it. We want to, make this as centralized a resource as we can. So, I don't feel particularly proprietary about, what we have here. I want to make sure that everyone can access anything that can help them. So I'd love to learn more about that if the question asker would like to ping me afterwards.
Yeah, we'll definitely connect you two after the seminar. All right, so this one comes from Dwight, actually. He wanted to just say, great presentation, Juliana. He's really glad to hear how successful the site has been, and he's wondering if there have ever been examples of field studies being planned out on the site. And he also mentioned that private spaces are useful, particularly for proposal planning or activities like that.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Dwight. Yeah, that's very true. So there was actually a really neat event that happened. Speaking of planning field, let's see. Was it the ACOA cruise? Okay, so at one point, the ACOA cruise that was going on, actually, someone, oh, actually, I didn't realize that Dwight posted this. Thanks, Dwight. This was really neat. So this was, a little bit different than fieldwork coordinating, but ACOA cruise came up short with a volunteer, needed someone to step in, and we actually found someone through the OA Information Exchange. It was really neat that the network kind of mobilized to get someone back on board in that, make sure that things could go off without, without there not being a volunteer. And then recently, I'm trying to remember the name of the post, I believe it was someone in the Pacific Islands was looking for collaborators because they just moved there for a field project, and maybe it was this one. And they were able to reach out and connect with people who could both provide resources like publications, but also they were able to meet with people based on the information that they found here. So it's definitely a great place to connect with folks, and we have had examples where the information that's on here online has translated to activities offline. And sometimes it's hard to capture all those interactions, but it's definitely happening, and it's a really cool way that the community is functioning and helping people. Thanks for bringing that up, Dwight.
So I'm seeing one more question. Can anyone request creating a team? It would be particularly useful to create teams that focus on co-stressors of OA, like HABs, or maybe specifically biological impacts.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to start a specific biological impact team, more than happy to do that. I think that's great. If people are interested in creating teams and they know that there's excitement from other people who would like to be able to have more specific conversations about that, absolutely. I'm glad to help get that started and send information about it.
All right, we have one last question actually. Is it possible to duplicate an existing update in multiple teams? So someone made an update and you want to maybe copy that update and post it on the teams that original one wasn't posted to.
Yes, so I'll go to this one as an example. Whenever you create an update, I swear this is because I'm sharing the internet between GoToMeeting and the site. So if you go to Edit Post, you'll see again the same list. And if I want to share this post also to the Go On community, I can check that box. I can check whatever box. And then you just go to Save, and that's that. Then it'll populate in that team. And whenever you edit a post, it automatically becomes listed as the most recent post. So it'll pop up to the top on the Home and Updates page. So yes, if you join something after the fact and you want to make sure that something you posted shows up there, then yep, just go in, edit your post, and whichever teams you want it to live in.
Awesome, thank you so much, Juliana. You're getting some more praise and congratulations in the question box. Everyone is really impressed with all of your really good work and all the good work of the OAIE. Before we sign off, I just wanted to make an announcement to all of our GCAN members that GCAN members are, as a kind of a stipulation for their membership, are required to sign up for their GCAN team. So join the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange if you haven't already, and then request access to that GCAN team, and then that'll kind of be the gatekeeper to GCAN membership. So hopefully this presentation provided all the information you need on joining the OAIE and joining the GCAN team, which we plan to use for all of our communication in addition to email, or hopefully in the place of email once everyone gets on. And with that,
thank you guys.
Thank you so much for everyone. Thanks again to our speaker. And again, we'll welcome anyone's feedback for further questions or suggestions for future GCAN webinar series topics.
And I also would like to mention that this webinar, the recording of it, will also be available on the site so that you can see it there. And I just want to make sure that you have my email address. It's just juliana@oainfoexchange.org. It's also littered all over the site. You can find it in FAQs. Seriously, it's my job to work on the site. I love my work. I want to hear from you guys, and thank you for all your kind words. And I'm just kind of the person who sits behind the scenes. It's all the community members who make this possible. It's a great group, so it's really a privilege to work with all of you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks again.